Hello there guys, Elita Legionarii here, and today I've got something very special, something very uncommon among Rome Total War. This is a 4 versus 4 31k on the Barbarian Invasion expansion, which is an awesome expansion. This video is going to double as something as a rare kind of video, but also as a bit of a request on my part towards basically the 31k community in general. I was really thrilled to be able to talk these players into playing 31k here in Barbarian Invasion. It was a really fun experience, and it's like a whole new learning experience for all of us because no one really knows how the units sort of work in this game. So far we've been able to ascertain that units in this game don't have very high is higher morale in comparison to the base game. So mass routing is actually easier to initiate, and cavalry is generally a lot stronger, and there's a lot more variation in cavalry. So to basically the 31k rules for Barbarian Invasion are actually 35k because Barbarian Invasion units are more expensive. So 35k is roughly the equivalent of 31k. And cavalry, because cavalry is the main force of most armies in this time, it's been and to balance out the other factions, it has been hocked up to 8 over 6. So anyway, because it was 8 cav, I took the Huns. The Huns are a cavalry power, a very powerful cavalry power. They've got pretty rubbish infantry, and they've got no foot archers. So they're a lot like, say, Scythia and Parthia, I guess, from Rome 1. However, they do have some infantry, but it's still not very good infantry. Anyway, I have 6 maxed out Hunnic heavy cavalry. These guys are very good. There's another cavalry unit that the Huns get as well. I think it's Hun Steppe, a chosen horde cavalry or something like that. It's basically got the same stats, but these are the best cav that the Huns can get out roughly. For the rest of my cav, I've got these 2 Hunnic elite warriors. These are very good horse archers. These guys are maxed out as well. These guys are probably the best horse archers in the game. They are very good. Not necessarily the best, but I think that they're definitely up there among the best. I can't be entirely sure. It's been ages since I played Barbarian Invasion, but they're fairly good. I have a couple of these steppe heavy spearmen, which are pretty decent as far as spears goes, but don't expect heaps. And then I've got these steppe swordsmen, which, yeah, they're pretty crap to be honest, but they'll fill out my forces and act as a support force as necessary. Fighting alongside me I have Titans the Great Beast, aka the Beast of Holland. Beast is, let's see, it looks like he's got 6 cataphracts that I can see, 5 Sogdian or Sugdian warriors, sorry, six of those. And he's got a lot of archers actually. He's got looks like 6 desert archers, and I think he might have some other stuff hidden in the woods. I can't be sure. On the right we have Heaven Biscuits. Now Biscuits was desyncing when we were playing this, so his army does some odd things in this battle. It's not what he was doing on his screen, but it still works out alright for us. He's got 4 of these mounted nobles. I believe he's got 6 of these hunters, and then he's got I believe that is 10 of these Saxon Hearth troops, which are very good heavy melee infantry. However, they have no missile weapon, but they are very good. And then up on the very left, in command of the Eastern Roman Empire, we have GREEK-KLEOMENIS. He's got 6 units, these Equitae Cataphractari. That's him there. And then he's got, I believe it was 4 Eastern archers. These guys are good archers. These are probably, I think only the Gothic, the Goth hunters, I believe they are, or something like that, are slightly better than these guys, but these guys are very good. And then he's got, I believe it was 10, sorry, he's got 1 Comita Tensei first cohort as his general, and then he's got, actually no, he's got 5 of those Comita Tensei first cohort and 5 Plumbatari here. So that is our team, and we're on the Germanic forest map. There isn't the grassy flatlands on Barbarian Invasion. That's one thing I don't like. So these kind of maps do favour the Barbarian factions quite a bit, so you do have to be careful not to put like snow on the ground or anything like that, because it gives the Barbarians too many bonuses. Anyway, here in command of the Eastern Roman Empire rebels is Titan's Mohammed. He's got a Comida Tensei first cohort, and the rest are Plumbatari that I can see, and his Kaz probably hidden. Then we have Heaven Imperator Bacon, aka Numidian, or BanjoBob. He's in command of the Celts. His army consists of a warlord, 5 noble clansmen. I do like the look of these guys, they look freaking cool. Then he's got, I believe it is, 10 Galo glasses. These guys are pretty cheap, so you can tank up their upgrades, and they look awesome. Very large swords, pretty solid too in the melee. And then he's got 3 of the best berserkers in the game, 3 Hounds of Kulan. These guys are very devastating indeed. And then out here on the left we have Lion Dwarf of the Brotherhood clan. He's got 3 units of hunters. He's playing as the Franks. 8 paladins. These guys are easily some of the best cav in the game. In fact, the Franks are probably a little bit OP, I think, among for 31k at least. Not entirely sure, but they are extremely good. However, he's not brought many of the Francisca Hiraban. These guys are incredibly powerful. They're like having, it's like having a heavy infantry with Warcry and with armor piercing throwing weapons. They throw axes which are armor piercing. They're very, very powerful and very good morale with Warcry, bonuses in the woods. This is easily one of the best infantry units for 31k. Then he's got several of these horde chosen swords and some of these axe Hiraban, but it's the Francisca Hiraban that you really want when you play as the Franks. And finally, up here hidden in the woods, I don't think I'm going to be able to see much of his army. In command of the Alamanni as PaladinBob of the Heaven clan. He's got several of these spear warband. He's got these chosen archers. Now every time I see these chosen archers for the barbarian style factions like the Lombards or Burgundi or Alamanni, is the helmets remind me of Boba Fett's helmet from Star Wars. They are good archers though. They're not very heavily armoured if memory serves me right, but they do have very good range. Then he's got Knight Raiders, Golden Band, Lombard Berserkers, and I'd imagine he's got 6 probably these Burgundian Lancers, which have got very good charge, but not quite as good melee as their most elite cav. So anyway, that is the armies. And keeping in mind that none of us have got really any experience with Barbarian Invasion. So anyway, looking at the teams, they have got the infantry advantage for sure, but we probably have the cavalry advantage. That being said, this is a woodlands map, so if they go to the woods, it's not going to mean much for us. Anyway, Beast pushes up forward. I'm going to do the same. We're going to try and skirmish here. I want to try and use my horse archers to pick away at the Hounds of Kulan, because these are very, very dangerous berserkers. If they get into the right spot, they can easily cause mass routes. I didn't catch this before, but here's Scotty Chariot, which he's bringing up forward here. But I personally find the Scotty Chariots to be pretty crap, at least in my experience. They are chariots, however, and they do scare things. But it just gets absolutely peppered with fire from Beast archers, and it doesn't mount to anything really, I don't think. And it's going to get pretty much cut to the ground, so it doesn't really amount to much. But what we want to try and do is skirmish our opponents and do as much damage as possible. That's our key, because they've got an infantry advantage. Didn't catch this before, but this appears to be Mo's cavalry, which is revealed, which turns out to be Equite Cataphractari as well. You can get the Equite Clibinare, but they don't have very good charge, but they do have really good melee stats, so it depends what you're going for, and charge tends to be better in 31k. Anyway, I'm going to start skirmishing here with my Hunnic warriors. I'm going to start firing at these hunter units here from Lion Dwarf, but their infantry's really pushing forward up here. If we look up here, Paladin Bob has come out of the woods here with his Burgundian Lancers, but those Lancers have got very good charge, but overall in terms of long-term melee grind they will be beaten by Equite Cataphractari. But Cleo, I think, is trying to draw him out of the woods, because it would be good for Paladin Bob if he could take Cleo's fight in the woodlands, because he'd get a bonus. And although these Roman troops have the Plumbatari use the Plumbata, which is like a sort of like, as you can see, they're kind of like big iron darts, and they can throw about 10 of them, which gives them awesome sort of peeler kind of skirmish ability in that regard. They don't actually have very high morale. Like, if you don't come on to Barbarian Invasion and expect your Roman infantry to have the kind of morale that urban cohorts had, it's just not going to happen. So going into the woodlands would be very poor for Cleo. So he's trying to draw Paladin Bob out of the woods, basically. If we look over here, we can see that Mo is looking aggressive here with his Equite Cataphractari, but myself and Beast are going to disengage and pull back from this. We've got to draw them out and draw them away from each other. As you can see over here, Cleo's going to take a fight here, but as you can see, these Burgundian Lancers are not going to be able to fight Cataphractari in a melee like this. So this isn't a common kind of fight you would see on a 31k. You see sort of a big infantry fight like this, but there is some spears coming to support, but Cleo's going to reinforce with infantry and another cav. You can see over here, if we look, there's going to be a really dangerous charge here coming from Mo, coming into the flank of Cleo's men here. And as you can see, the Berserkers are now in the fight. But fortunately, because the way these guys are very lightly clad, like typical barbarians, it's worked well for Cleo, who's been able to throw the tons of Plume Batari into them, which has done caused a rout to happen here. And he's got the general, which is very good. If we look at this side, keeping in mind the Biscuits was desyncing, so what he was doing in this battle wasn't what he was actually doing on his computer screen. So his sort of AI controlled army has sort of moved into the middle here behind Beast. Well, sort of semi-AI, semi-Biscuits controlled. If we look up here though, the Cav fight comfortably goes in the direction of Cleo, so he's going to win that, which is good for him. But Mo's going to get a pretty brutal charge here. But one of these first cohorts does rout. He's going to counter him. I saw this, so I peeled my cavalry off. Beast is going to continually pull back, and we're going to use these Saxon guys. And you can look at that, if you just noticed, Biscuits just went into shield wall. This is going to give him a lot of bracing and holding power, so he should be able to hold these Gala glasses. Only the Hounds of Kulan are probably a serious issue for him here. And if Beast gets good counter, that won't be a big deal. But I can't support them because I have to help Cleo, because he's going to get overwhelmed by these guys if I don't help him. He won the Cav fight here, but he's in trouble if Mo continues with that fight. So I bring in my Cav here, and he does manage to cause these guys to rout when they disengage. But as you can see, Beast does exactly what I suspected he would. Gets a good charge in with his Sassanid Cataphracts. It's going to do some pretty brutal damage. He puts his Sugidian warriors in first just to take the front, and they hold. And Biscuits has got his guys here in shield wall. But again, this is pretty much AI. I'm going to hurl my Hunnic Steep, my spears in here, but they got pretty crap morale. But it'll help against the cavalry nonetheless. The Franks are coming over. Now in this regard, we can see that Paladin Bob's putting his Berserkers forward, and I'm going to put in my charge in here with Cleo, and we're going to get rid of these Berserkers once and for all, and drive Paladin Bob's army into the ground. So I bring in the Hunnic heavy cavalry there, and that drives them back. If we look over here, these Sassanids have had to pull back. The Hounds of Kulan have come in, but Berserkers are always weak to heavy cavalry, which is what Beast is going for here. If we look, I've attempted to intercept Mo's move here. I was trying to reinforce, but Mo hit me here. But my guys are going to get very quickly defeated. Plume Batari are vastly better than these steep swordsmen. But I want to try and hold him so I can get a rear charge in the flank here. Because Cleo has won, so more or less defeated Paladin Bob. So if he comes and reinforces with me, we might be able to take Mo off the field, at least in terms of his infantry. But it's not looking too good for us at this stage because Biscuits' army has just been overwhelmed here. It was under, again, he was desyncing in this fight, so it wasn't really under his complete control. And as you can see, my infantry just mass routed there as well. So at the moment, it's looking pretty bad. Beast does get his cataphracts into these paladins, and he should be able to probably win that. As you can see, if we look, Biscuits is just walking his guys, and again, this is because it's desynced and he's not in total control of his army. So don't let this be a reflection upon Biscuits' skill or anything, because it's not really Biscuits who's doing that. What he was doing on his screen, I'm sure, was good, but because he's desyncing, it's not really what's happening on our screen. Anyway, I see a chance here to rear charge Mo with my Cav here, so I take it. Got to be careful of Mo's own counter charge though, but Cleo's here to back me up. and I do pretty brutal damage off the charge. And now I'm going to bring my horse archers, which are pretty capable in melee, and I'm going to put them into tight, and I'm going to hammer into the back here. And as you can see, Mo's going to try and counter charge here, but Cleo's coming in aiming for the general, and I'm going to bring these guys into tight. I believe fire arrows are coming in from Biscuits, which is great. And we're going to sandwich these guys, and their lower morale causes them to rout. If we look over here though, we'll just wait for Mo's guys to rout. Mo's guys do start to show signs of mass routing, and there's infantry coming in from Cleo, so it's good that he won his fight. But we managed to get most of Mo's guys to mass rout. But if we look over here, it looks like Beast was able to extricate some of his cataphracts. But again, the Saxon army's really under an AOA, not Biscuits control, so it's making it a bit tricky to work with that. But as you can see, Cleo pours on his infantry now. The Saxons come in here, but I'm going to turn around and I'm going to get a counter charge in on the Saxons. And some of my infantry's regrouped at this stage. Again, as I said, Hunnic infantry is just complete crap, really. But I'm going to bring in the counter charge here, and that's going to finish off the rest of Mo and this Frank cavalry in this area. So some good teamwork between me and Cleo in this one to overcome here. Looks like some of these infantry units are fighting some of Cleo's guys here, but Cleo's got these archers here. They're pretty solid archers. And at this stage, as you can see, their morale drops. The morale is definitely something that is definitely lower in Barbarian Invasion. So you have to calculate that into your equation when you play. The units just don't hold as long and as hard as they did in Rome Total War, which kind of makes sense because although cavalry is better, I would say, cavalry is overall much better in Barbarian Invasion. Much more variety and more powerful among the factions, but infantry is not. Infantry is definitely worse, and that makes sense because in this time period cavalry was becoming a more dominant force. Armies were starting to be built more around the power of their cavalry. It's like the Romans are a good example. Like the Comita Tensaes, the Plumbatarii, they were still very good in terms of infantry, but they weren't the cream infantry like the Legionnaires were back in the earlier empire. And cavalry was starting to become a dominant thing. So that's why cavalry tends to be more of a focus point in Barbarian Invasion rather than infantry in standard Rome. Even though cav's still very important in 31k in all scenarios, there is more of a sort of focus on cavalry here. So you've got to take a factor into account that most of your units here in Barbarian Invasion don't have the same kind of morale they do in the base game, but cavalry tends to make up for it by being more powerful. But it makes harder work for your infantry, so you've got to be a bit careful there. But anyway, this was a really nice game. Lots of great cavalry charges in this one. Lots of great mixture. And again, you've got to take into account with this kind of battle, none of us really know Barbarian Invasion that well. I know a little bit because I used to play it a few years ago, but I could never convince many players to actually play it. Which always disappoints me because as far as I'm concerned, although it's not quite as good as the base game, it is an absolutely fantastic, outstanding expansion. And people do need, I think, don't need to play it, but I would really like them to play it. And I'm immensely grateful that Cleo, Beast, Biscuits, Lion, Dwarf, Numidian, Mo and PaladinBob agreed to play. I thank you guys because I absolutely love playing Barbarian Invasion. I used to play it years ago and I loved it, but so few people wished to play it. They for some reason always thought it was crap, and again, like the base game's the best, but Barbarian Invasion is still really, really good. So this video, as I said, is going to double as a bit of a shout out, guys. So hopefully if you did enjoy this battle, please consider playing a bit of Barbarian Invasion. I'm not talking about replacing the base with Barbarian Invasion. The base is better for 31k, but just every now and again I think we could have a lot of fun and play a bit of Barbarian Invasion just to mix it up. It's something different to put on the channel. It just revitalizes Barbarian Invasion game because it is a very good expansion. So guys, consider it, because I would be really grateful. Some of you might not like it as much, that's fine, but it is a fantastic expansion, and I think, watching this battle, I think you can see how much fun it has the potential to be once you sort of learn the specifics of it. And I think it's kind of cool because everyone will jump in on board with Barbarian Invasion with like no knowledge of it, so everyone's kind of on the same level, if you know what I mean, like in terms of at least knowledge and how to play. So we're all kind of going to be learning, and I really like that too. So it's going to be that sort of aspect as well. So hopefully you guys are interested. because I'd be grateful if you'd be willing to play. If you are, just leave a little comment and tell me what you think. Anyway, if we have a look at the kills here, I didn't get a heap. My Cav got all my kills, of course, because that's how the Huns work. As you can see, my infantry was crap. It didn't really do anything. It just served as infantry and a bit of a stalling force, whereas the Cav is all the power behind the Huns. I got 905. Still have over half my army left, though. Plenty of my army left. Cleo shined out with 1600, Beast with 1100, and Biscuits with 924. But again, as I said, Biscuits had desyncing problems, so Biscuits wouldn't have been getting the same thing happening on his screen that was happening on ours. So that'll be why Biscuits sort of played a bit like, it looked like his army was a bit weird in this fight. It wasn't really what Biscuits was doing. Look at the other guys, it's sort of got a mixture of 600, 700, and 800, 500 there. It was pretty decisive victory there. The victory coming there from the being able to beat Cleo on Cleo beating PaladinBob on the left there, and we had to draw it in. Beast did some great sort of skirmishing and kiting tactics in the middle, and the AI AI Biscuit supported him there. So great game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, Beast has got a channel, Biscuits has got a channel, and PaladinBob's got a channel. So I will link all those in descriptions. Be sure to drop by and check them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested in Barbarian Invasion, please leave a little comment, or you can message me on Steam. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you soon next time.